Hey, gun people, here we go. Part 6.
Extended a month? Okay. Earlier in the interview, you mentioned that your training was extended a month. Was that in the academy, or was that an FTO process?
Not field training.
The field training. While you were in the academy, did you have any deficiencies in any of your training?
It's like 10 years ago.
Okay, so this guy's a little bit more in your face. They let the nice guy first. You can tell this guy's a little bit more aggressive. Why is he more aggressive? Anyway, so this guy's going to be a little bit more kind of in your face. The attorney's probably going to be a little bit more outspoken on this, but he's saying you got extended. Normally when you get extended on FTO, that means you're not meeting standards. You're performing substandard. This guy's been on the agency 10 years, and they're asking him what happened in the academy. This guy ought to be saying, I don't know what happened. If you've got some specific question that you know, then by all means ask it, but I don't remember what happened in the academy 10 years ago. Do you remember what happened in your academy?
I suppose you could find. I don't really recall too much. I guess there's probably some as a new officer you'd be some a lot of deficiency. I guess.
Okay. So a lot of deficiencies.
He said, I guess you'd have a lot of deficiencies. The guy follows up. Okay, so a lot of deficiencies. This guy's very aggressive. This is a more attacking. So they let this guy be good cop. This guy's really kind of going at him. His attorney's probably going to interrupt here quickly.
To be critical of myself as far as training.
Was there anything that held you back in the academy?
I guess it's natural for recruits to, and probably true for me as well, as decision making.
Okay, so there was special attention to your decision making while you were in the academy?
Man, he's already got this guy admitting he's got decision making problems 10 years ago in the academy. Are you freaking kidding me? This guy is really showing inexperience to interviewing. He hadn't been on a stand a lot, because there's no way with 10 years that he should be letting this guy take him down this rabbit hole.
Yep, you kind of deciding what you're going to do on the call.
Okay. In the FTO process, that was extended a month, correct?
Yep.
What were the reasons for the extension?
I'm trying to remember here.
See, this attorney's figuring, you know what? The longer I'm here, the more billable hours I got. So I'll let this drag on, whatever. I'm getting paid, whatever.
I think it was got into
when you have to think that long for a answer, and when interviewers are willing to wait that long for an answer, don't answer it. I don't recall. I don't remember. Don't lock yourself. That is a great ploy for me to get you locked in. And then if you say I don't recall, I can turn that around and go, well, do you not recall because you don't want to? Or is it, I mean, look, there's ways to get you. So you need to be able to stand up for yourself. That was a long time ago. I don't remember. Period. I don't remember. If you want to refresh my recollection, great. This guy is fishing. He doesn't know he had anything in academy. Now he's got the guy already admitting he's got decision problems in the academy.
Maybe I might have been officer safety. I don't recall off the top of my head.
Now he's got the guy admitting he had problems with officer safety. I mean, it's like he ain't even asked a hard question yet. He's just letting this guy sweat and give him answers and give him a place to go. Oh, bad interview, bad attorney, bad answer. Wow.
Exactly. I think it might have been a few things.
A few things.
Yeah.
Do you recall any of those?
I'm trying to think.
No, I don't recall. Can you be more specific?
I think it's kind of more officer safety decision making. I think.
Oh my God, he just got to admit twice he had problems. When this guy testifies in court, they're going to say, isn't it true, even in academy 10 years ago, you had problems with decision making and officer safety? and now you went out there and you didn't make the right decision, you experienced, I mean, they're just going to milk this for days because this guy gave them something that he didn't need to give them. Ugh.
So officer safety and decision making. Right. Okay. All right, let's move more towards kind of the incident itself. You mentioned a couple times during the interview that it was pointless, it's not going to work, and referring to getting Mr. Floyd into the back of the squad car. Is that accurate?
Right.
Okay. Based on that, you made a decision to direct the officers to put Mr. Floyd on the ground?
No, I suggested we put him on the ground.
Okay. Is there any reason why you decided to direct them to put Mr. Floyd on the ground specifically as opposed to other options?
It's the best way. We're talking. It's the best way to control somebody is when they're on the ground, prone out. That's the best maximum way to control someone.
See, he should have been. Anytime you're questioning something like that, you have to stay on focus to why you were doing it. He should have said, when we have violent, aggressive, fighting, and resisting people under the influence that are wearing out officers that are breathing hard, the best way to control them is to get them on the ground. It's safer for them and it's safer for us. You need to have these statements in your mind so they come out. When you testify a lot, I mean, I was a use of force instructor, so I had to testify for other officers. I had to review a lot of officers. I had to read a lot of reports. I had to tell officers, dude, man, you're screwing up. I'd sit in court and watch people screw themselves. So for me, it's kind of second nature to pull these things out. But if you're a young, inexperienced officer, you need to practice your answers on making it very specific that you are reacting to the suspect's actions and violence and resistance and all that. Oh, man.
And how many officers were attempting to control Mr. Floyd at the time?
3.
Okay. Was he in handcuffs?
Yes.
Okay. Is it typical for a suspect in handcuffs to not be controlled with 3 officers?
It's typical when the guy's under the influence and he's overpowering him. It's typical in this case. There's nothing really typical about police work, and you should know that, Mr. Follically Challenged. It's not typical. In this case, if this is the case we're talking about, we're not talking about typical. In this case, there was a large male under the influence that was committing several felonies, and he was under the influence. And he fought his way out of a car, and he resisted several officers, and we were trying to control him. And in this situation, I felt the best way to control him is on the ground.
What do you mean, like,
is that general? Does that happen often?
Are you referring to him and his experience?
Yes, in your experience.
So, see, again, this guy's going to get away. Anytime you got an attorney in a room, you get away with whatever the attorney will let you get away with. So if I can ask very broad questions, I may get you to admit something like, you had freaking decision-making problems in the academy 10 years ago. So I already know I'm going to just ask as many stupid questions as I can, and you'll probably give me something.
I haven't run into a mini experience, I guess, with it, where 3 officers have to restrain him.
So it's not typical.
It doesn't happen daily, I guess. It's a rarity, I guess we say.
Okay. You mentioned during the interview that you were concerned about the 3 officers who were holding Mr. Floyd down and the traffic, correct?
Traffic, crowd control. I don't really, since I'm not having to restrain it, I don't really have a job, so I kind of have to, therefore, kind of by default, from my experience in our...
See, he's going back and he's elaborating on his previous answer. You don't ever want to elaborate. As I said before, I was worried about the crowd and my back was to him. Short, sweet, to the point. Don't give them more places to go. Don't try to elaborate on your previous statements or your answer. That's what our job is as investigators, to get you to elaborate, to get you to step on your PP, to get you to say something that you didn't mean to say.
Training is, then you need to take a guard position for your fellow officers.
Okay. At any point did you mention to the officers that they should move from the road and go onto the sidewalk?
No.
Okay. Is there a reason for that?
It just never occurred to me.
Yeah, the reason was it was a highly volatile situation. I already told you I was worried about the crowd, and that was the only place we got him. We already had him standing up on a point of safety, and due to his aggressive and fighting actions, he threw himself through the car and put all the officers in danger because of his resistive actions and because of him taking drugs and him committing crimes. And that's how the officers ended up there. So I was trying to deal with the situation that was created by Mr. Floyd. You slam a couple guys with a couple answers like that, and they usually don't ask you other questions because they look stupid. And here, though, it's not in front of the jury, so it doesn't really matter. This guy's a goober. He's not answering good questions. He's just fishing, and he's trying to act like he's really smart, and he's a goober in my book. Rick, you're just picking on him because he ain't got no hair. I'm not. This guy, if he was bald, I'd still say he's a good investigator. I haven't heard FBI boy yet.
Did Mr. Floyd, based on your observations, struggle the entire time he was on the ground?
Yes. From the time I've seen.
Yes. Stop there. Make him answer. This guy wants to talk, and his attorney's not shutting him up, and he doesn't know how to shut up and stop elaborating.
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't say from the time I'm observing them. The majority of the time, he was struggling.
Okay. Did you ever see him cease to struggle?
I believe I did peek maybe a couple times, just check, kind of look back to make sure they're still there.
Okay. And what was happening? Was Mr. Floyd just laying there, or was he talking, or what was happening when you peeked?
See, now this officer went the same place that he tried to go, and he was pretty good with this guy. He didn't get shook up. See, this guy, he played a softball, and now he's kind of trying to shake him up, be aggressive. You notice his questions are firing back. He's not pausing. As soon as this guy answers, he's got another question. Boom, boom, boom. And he's trying to keep this guy off guard so he'll run his mouth and say something that he shouldn't.
He was just laying there.
Okay.
So you did see him just laying there. Earlier you said you didn't see him because you were paying attention to the crowd. Now you just admitted you did see him laying there. Were you lying before, or are you lying now? Ugh, man.
You said earlier that you could hear Mr. Floyd making statements. Is that accurate? Such as, I can't breathe.
Yep.
Did you ever cease hearing Mr. Floyd talk?
Yes.
Okay. Did you check on him at that point?
That was not my job at that moment.
Didn't ask if it was your job. He asked if you checked on him. He's non-responsive. This is what attorneys will make it look like you're trying to hide the truth. When they asked you this question, you didn't even answer it. You kept giving alternate answers and not what he asked you. Why didn't you want to answer that? Isn't it because you did see it and you knew it was wrong and you didn't do anything about it? I mean, oh, man.
To do that, I would trust the other officers as they're in contact with me.
Okay. What was your job? You mentioned the crowd and the traffic. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. As far as...
So this guy's answer questions and answer it. What was your job? You mentioned the crowd and that. Is that right? What the purpose of that question? You asked the question, then you answered it. Goober. Big G.
People talking to you, what were they saying? They mentioned before. What were they saying?
A lot of, they're obviously upset, saying check.
The other officer already answered that. I told you. They were using profanity, and they appeared to be aggressive and hostile in their actions. Period. Short, sweet, to the point. This kid, because he's a nice guy, he's trying to, I don't want to appear uncooperative. I don't want to give short. I'm going to try and help them understand. I'm going to try and help the poor faculty challenge officer because he's obviously confused. So let me make up and try to articulate shit that I didn't say here and change my statement. Not good.
Check on him. He's not breathing or not moving. Something in those terms.
Okay. And at that point, did you check on Mr. Floyd?
No, because my job is senior security. I would trust on those guys. I can't multitask. God only gave me one body and two hands and two legs. I can't be in two places at once. So.
Okay. Real quickly, at room 100, if it's okay, let's talk about that. When you went down to room 100, what was going on at room 100 when you got there?
Now they get another bite at the apple. Now they're going back. As long as an attorney will let me badger a guy, see, you can't claim a coerced statement. These cops right now, we had some attorneys that were complete dicks, and we knew we weren't going to get shit, and they were just going to be a dick, so we would just go off on the guy. You did it! You know you did it! Just admit it! And the attorney would just be in shock. It would be like, what the fuck? You can't do that! Hell yeah, I can do that. These cops can do anything. They can threaten to take this guy out and shoot him. They can do anything right now because he has counsel present. The counsel is there to protect him. As long as the counsel allows us to do anything we want, we can do anything we want to you because you have representation. And it can't be said that it's coerced and that it was inappropriate. Because if it was inappropriate, your counsel would have stopped us. So when we see a counsel there, an attorney, and he's not paying attention, he's working on another case, we can get in this guy's grill and go, dude, come on, you did it. You know you did it. Just admit it. Look, we already know we'll lie to you right there, even though your attorney knows we're lying. If he doesn't say, hey, you're lying to him, I don't have that. You're saying you got evidence. I don't have that evidence. Let me see that evidence if you're going to tell him. As long as the attorney allows us to badger you, we can badger you. You can't claim it was coerced because you have counsel.
I think they're trying to figure out. I think they're calling commands down and trying to get union reps and lawyers.
Okay. Did anybody from Minneapolis Police Department, administration, or any other level take a statement from you about what happened?
You said administration?
Yeah.
No.
How about the union or anybody else?
Union lawyer.
Okay. So you spoke to an attorney about what happened, but nobody else?
No.
Until today?
What do you mean?
Like, is today the first time you've really given a statement to someone other than your attorney?
This really the only time really given a whole detail of whatever.
Okay. Were you on?
Okay, so where he was going there is, I want to know who to contact and who else you've talked to, because I'm going to go talk to them. If they said you told them something different you told me, I want to know. So that's why it's important not to talk to people. Now, because he talked to his attorney, that's kind of protected. I used to say it was absolute, but ever since they got Trump's attorney to turn on him, attorney-client privilege ain't absolute anymore. So this guy gave a statement to his attorney, which is probably protected. But if this investigator who I liked missed a golden opportunity right here, because he said, this is the first time I've given a full statement. My follow-up would have been, who have you given partial statements? And the guy missed that. Let me go back because I think he missed that.
Nobody else?
No.
Until today?
What do you mean?
Like, is today the first time you've really given a statement to someone other than your attorney?
This really the only time really given a whole detail.
This is the only time I've really given a whole detail. Oh, how many times have you given less or a partial statement to other people? Really? 5 times? Who were those people? Because now we have conflicting statements out there and witnesses against you. So this guy missed that. Sorry, dude. I got you on that one.
Yeah,
whatever.
Okay. Were you, on the date of this incident down at Room 100, offered the opportunity to consent to a blood sample?
You can talk about what happened that day, but we're not going to talk about who asked him to speak or anything like that.
What about a blood sample?
That's fair.
Were you offered a blood sample by the BCA?
No.
You were not offered one?
No.
Okay.
I was told by that I was a witness officer, so they didn't.
Okay, so because the belief was that you didn't actively participate in restraining him, that you were not offered a blood sample?
Sure.
Okay. I wasn't there. I didn't know that. All right. Officer Chauvin, does he have more years on than you?
Yes.
Do you know how many years on approximately he has? It's okay if you don't. I'm just curious.
See, this guy's laid back interview. He gets people to talk to him, which is cool. I mean, I could be this guy or I could be this guy. Depends on who I was interviewing with. But those are interviewing techniques. He comes off as, I understand, no problem. Yeah, we're friends. I'm not trying to trick you. I'm not, I'm just trying to get information. I'm trying to help you. He plays that role really well, and this guy wants to talk to him.
I'm not sure.
Okay, but he's senior to you.
Correct.
All right. What's kind of does he have a supervisory role with the police department?
No.
Patrol officer level, just like you?
Correct.
Okay. Is there any, informal kind of hierarchy when you have somebody with more experience or more years on versus less years on? Like, do you somehow treat them differently?
Sure.
How so?
See, I think where he's going, or where I would be going, is you testified earlier because the other two were inexperienced, that because you were an experienced officer, you stepped in and said, no, we're not going to leave the car, and you told him to call a supervisor, and you did things as a more experienced officer. You took charge. So obviously, if Chauvin was more years than you, why didn't he take charge? Or I don't know where he's going, but that's kind of the gist on what he's getting here is, you were more experienced and did something. Siobhan was more experienced. Why didn't he do something? I think that's where he's going. I don't know.
I mean, just as you know, as far as who's going to drive, who's going to sit in the passenger. You know?
Okay. So if Chauvin said, I want to drive today, but you really wanted to drive today, you would defer to him because he has more seniority?
Correct.
Would that be an example, I guess? Okay.
Meaning, whoever the senior guy is there kind of calls the shots. The senior guy gets to dictate kind of what's going on. You don't question a senior officer. A senior officer usually gets to make the decisions, and you go along if you're a junior officer. I don't know if that's the point he's trying to make, but...
I don't really have any other questions.
Is it okay if I ask some questions?
No.
Okay.
I specifically talked to Jeff Paulson and said we were fine with the FBI being here, but that you weren't able to ask questions. I thought that was communicated to you.
Okay.
You go, boy. Yeah, so he approved the FBI for being there, but he didn't want to ask questions. Why is that? Why do you think he doesn't want him? Because he is facing charges here now. They haven't filed felony charges yet, and he doesn't want to give them information to file felony charges. If the feds want to file charges, they can use what we gave you, but we're not going to give you a bite at the apple. Good job for the attorney.
No, it wasn't in such definitive terms. I do have some definition questions from training stuff that
Why don't I suggest you speak to Mr. Paulson
Okay.
before those questions to me?
Okay, that works.
Anything else, James?
You go, boy. Damn Phoebe coming in there trying to slide in a question. Government, different government agencies, different levels. Everybody got his client beating him to hell. He allows him. He allowed to sit there. Hell, if I was an attorney, I'd have been like, hell no, the FBI can't sit in. He can talk to you afterwards. He can review the tape. I don't even need him in the freaking room. I don't want him trying to intimidate my client. As a matter of fact, I don't want two of you guys in there. One of you guys asks the questions, you two get together before, and I'm going to allow one guy in here with my client and me so he doesn't feel intimidated, and he's got one guy asking him questions, and he's got me defending him. How about that? That would have been my response as the attorney.
Mr. Towle, is there anything else you can think of that might be important for us to know?
Oh, my God. You always end the interview like that, and you never, if anybody ever gives you that, you never volunteer shit. No matter what this guy says, it hurts him. He can say, I feel really bad for Floyd's family, and I'm really sorry. And oh, so you're sorry that it happened, but you weren't sorry enough to take action and do something then. You're sorry after the fact because you're facing charges, but you weren't sorry when you could have stopped it when you were the senior officer. Nothing you say at this point helps you. Keep your damn mouth shut.
That we haven't discussed today or asked you about. I know we've asked you a lot of questions. Thank you for answering them.
Can I ask one question? You were asked whether you were offered a blood sample. You indicated that you were not offered a blood sample because you were told you were a witness officer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And who told you that?
I believe it was a BCA agent.
Do you recall which BC officer told you that?
I did not get the name.
Male or female?
I think it was a male.
About him that you remember?
White guy.
Okay. That describes a few of us. Okay.
I didn't get his name.
The bottom line is, though, you were told you didn't need to. We weren't even going to ask you for a blood draw because you.
Yeah, we. As far as my understanding, I think somebody went to get clarity as well, and they said since I was a witness officer, the only thing they needed was take my picture and body camera.
Okay, so it sounds like they wanted to get a blood and they didn't, or they should have. Nobody knew that there were going to be murder charges, the city was going to burn down, etc. So now everybody's trying to cover their butt now on why didn't we get blood from all these officers? Because if we can find one of them with some drugs in their system, man, that's going to help our case. Why didn't you get blood from this guy? And it sounds like it's reasonable. Look, if we got a guy who used excessive force, we want blood from the guy who used excessive force. We don't want blood from every officer on every shift that worked every day. And I don't even know if that's in the scope of getting blood. They had to ask for it, which means they didn't have the authority to get it. So I'm not sure why they're going here, but I'm thinking it's a cover your ass. Somebody said, why the hell didn't we get blood from him? And nobody knows, so let's ask him.
And that was done?
Correct.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Polly?
1 minute.
Yes, you were asked about whether you saw Mr. Floyd motionless at any time. And the body cam video doesn't show you turning to see at any point when Officer Chauvin appears to be motionless. It shows you.
Okay, so he's getting this kind of on the record that, according to the body cam, you never looked, and it doesn't show you looking. I don't know why he's making this point, but maybe we'll see here.
Turning to see the ambulance leaving. Does that seem accurate to you?
Does that seem accurate? Not is it accurate? Are you 100% sure that's accurate? Does that seem? Again, we're using words and phrases that leaves wiggle room in case we get caught with our pants down and we found out we misspoke, or somebody has evidence that contradicts what we think happened.
And if you saw that the officer saying that Mr. Floyd was motionless, would that have changed anything that you did?
If he was,
Whoa, I don't know if I'd have asked that. I would have want him pinned down on that. Why would you give them? I don't even know why this attorney's asking him questions on the record in front of these guys unless it's to help his client. I'm not sure if you would ask this cold and not know what the freaking answer is.
motionless,
Yes.
it would change. I was purely focused on my job at hand. So if I would trust that my partners would do.
Okay, so that was the end of that. I'm not sure I would ask. The interview stopped there. Look, I know this is a 5-part series. There's 30 minutes. It was long for me too. I need to go eat. Shit, it's like 2:30. I started this at like 11. Anyway, not that I need to eat, because I'll be looking like this guy. But anyway, look, lots of lessons in this video series, dude. I mean, I know a lot of people ain't gonna want to sit through it, but I'm telling you, this guy in this interview is the same that interviews take place all over the country every day, every hour, and people slip up and they say something they shouldn't. They say something they regret. I've said it 1,000 times. It never does you any good, and it doesn't help you to cooperate or talk to the government. Don't do it. Make the government make their case without your freaking help. And if you think you're smarter than the government, they got more resources and more ways and more tricks and more money, because they don't have to worry about running out of money, than you do. Don't freaking help government. Screw you. But Rick, government's here to help. Well, that's because you're an idiot. All right, we'll end that there.